copies in the back of the room if you'd like to follow along with us, and we will follow our agenda tonight. So with that being said, if you would now please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. After that, Councilman Biggs will offer an invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Eternal Father, we thank you so much for allowing us to be here tonight. Father, guide our minds and guide our thoughts as we go about the business of this town and for its people. We pray your blessings on each one here, and we pray your blessings on us as we do the work for the people of Edenton. Through Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Okay. First action item tonight is a public hearing. We've had a case brought forward for a request to change a zoning in our town from R10 to medical arts, and I will call on Elizabeth Bryant, our planner, to introduce the subject for us, please, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I'm prepared to give my staff report tonight, and the applicant is also present here and can make a statement after I'm finished about the nature of her application. And we also have a few other neighbors in the audience that may wish to speak or ask questions. You've received a full packet with the application and supporting materials, the report from the Planning Board and their minutes. And I'll just briefly go over my staff report that was also included in your packet for you all tonight. So the applicant are Scott and Alyssa Perry. The property owners are Brian and Tiffany Danley. You can see that the property is located at 200 Virginia Road. They are requesting a rezoning from R10 residential to MA medical arts. The property is about 0.42 acres with 104.7 feet of frontage on Virginia Road. It's currently zoned R10, and its existing use is for a single-family residence. The surrounding land use and zoning, which will be clarified a little bit on an upcoming map, to the north is developed R10 residential, single-family residences. That's the Morris Circle area. To the south, the properties are developed medical arts, office and institutional uses. That's across Virginia Road. To the east, the property is developed R10 residential, existing single-family residences there along Virginia Road. To the west, there's a little bit of the planned Beechwood subdivision, which is currently undeveloped, and it's zoned medical arts and highway commercial, and then the duck through is on the other side of that, which is also highway commercial. Okay, to clarify some things about the requested zoning district, they are requesting that the property be rezoned to medical arts from residential. The medical arts district is established as a district in which to allow health care facilities, including hospitals, medical and dental offices and clinics, and related health care uses. The major objectives of this area are to encourage the development of health care and related facilities, to discourage large-scale, high-intensity commercial development. There's no minimum lot size. The minimum lot width is 100 feet. This property meets that requirement. And coverage of the lot is limited to 60% with a height limit of 50 feet for building height. The land use plan identifies public and office institutional uses as compatible with the medical arts zoning district. The public and office institutional classification is intended to delineate large land areas that are used for intensive public and educational purposes, as well as medical-related offices that support the hospital. The public and office institutional district is compatible with the medical arts and OS office and services zoning districts. Streets with the capacity to accommodate higher traffic volumes are also necessary to support public and office and institutional development. The future land use plan, map classification, and plans, goals, and objectives identify priorities as promoting land use and public infrastructure development that is compatible with land suitability as well as capabilities to provide requisite public services, to promote diversified economic development, and to continue to work toward a diversified economy, including industry, tourism, and improved technical education opportunities. Also, to continue to support market-driven trends in redevelopment and reuse. Special information about the property. It's currently developed, so municipal water and sewer services are available. It's within the town limits. Town protection services are available. It fronts on Virginia Road, and it's a developed lot, approximately 0.42 acres with one-story brick home about circa 1985. It's unoccupied at this point. This is the map I mentioned earlier. Forgive me, I'm going to try to step out so I can kind of see a little bit better. Just wanted to point out that the red star on the map, there it is, indicates the property in question. You can see that the surrounding zoning and use is primarily R10 residential to the east and north. This is the Beechwood property, duck through, hospital, the clinic, or excuse me, medical clinic, and then the agriculture building is right there. Some notes about this application is that the request is to rezone the aforementioned parcel from R10 to medical arts. They seek this rezoning for the purpose of operating a medical or dental or related office. The property is currently R10, which does not permit office or institutional uses. This rezoning request may be considered appropriate given the current land use of this property in relation to the land use of the surrounding parcels on Virginia Road. The future land use map contained within the 2008 Edenton Chowan Land Use Plan depicts generalized patterns of future land use. It is not intended to be used for site-specific land planning. However, the future land use map illustrates a typical pattern of use for a general area and not the specified use for an individual parcel. The potential use of this parcel for a medical or dental or related office is consistent with this land use map designation of neighboring properties and is consistent with the existing land use map plan policies regarding public and office institutional use. The economic and local market circumstances have changed since the preparation of the future land use map in 2006 and 2007, and it is now indicated that the parcel may be best suited for either residential or office use. Please be aware that rezoning the subject property will permit all uses that are permissible in the medical arts district as listed in the town's Unified Development Ordinance table of permitted uses. Again, this is an aerial photo that shows the location of the property. It's outlined in red. And that's all the slides, so I'll go back to that one. Just one final note before I end my kind of dense presentation here is on the task before you as council on a rezoning. Ultimately, you are, the ultimate issue is to decide whether the proposed amendments, you're considering all of the uses in that zoning category, but you're also considering how it's going to impact the town, this particular rezoning, whether it will, sorry, let me find my spot, okay, advances the public health, safety, or welfare. All the use category, all the uses in this category, whether they would advance the public health, safety, and welfare, all other issues are irrelevant. The only other thing I'd note is that you may decide to send this to a committee for further action, but this is a pretty straightforward application, and the applicant is here to answer any questions. So before I sit down, do you all have any questions for me now that I've gotten all of that into the record?
Elizabeth?
Yes, sir.
Would you go to a slide maybe before that and show the property?
This one?
That outline. Does that abut the road that goes to the back, to the side?
No.
It does not.
There are 2 more properties between.
That's what I thought. I just want to be sure.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth, and I might make a footnote. I think this is, your presentation from your staff perspective is about as clear a one as I've heard up in a very long time. It's nice to have you back with us in this capacity. And so, Elisa,
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you for your interest in making this request. So the floor is yours.
Okay. Those of y'all that don't know me, my name's Elisa Perry. I've worked in Edenton at the hospital for the past 30 years. I just retired in June. And I am also a licensed massage therapist. And I love Edenton. It's where I've always worked, and that's where I wanted to open my practice. And so we are seeking rezoning of this home so I can open my practice there. I'll be the sole person there, and it's a therapeutic office, so it won't be a spa. It'll be more a massage for anybody that needs a massage or some therapeutic work. So, do you have any questions?
Council, any questions of Ms. Perry?
I do have one question, come to
Yes.
think of it. One of the concerns that I have heard from some of the neighbors,
Mhm.
the hedges that are behind you that kind of sort of block the house from Morris Circle
Mm-hmm.
for the most part.
Uh-huh.
Do you plan on leaving those?
Sure. I mean, if they want them left, that's no problem for me. I don't have a problem with that.
Have you, and I'm asking because they've asked,
Yes.
are you thinking about putting any type of fencing up that would, should something happen to that vegetation, that would help block it also?
There's a fence on the current side in there towards the house. There's already a fence there behind the house.
Okay.
And then the shrubbery is behind that fence towards the Moore Circle side. So certainly if that's something that the community wants left there, I don't have a problem with that at all. Don't have a problem with that at all.
And it's just you working there?
Yes, it would
So
just
you-
be me.
You can't have 10 people at a time
No,
in there, right?
just one at a time.
Right.
Correct.
Other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay, council members, you've heard the staff report, you've heard comments made by the applicant. Does anybody have any further questions, or the chair will entertain a motion to approve the request as presented, and we could have discussion on the motion? But that's true. I do this all the time. You would think after as much practice as I've had. This is a public hearing, I apologize. And so now having heard the case as presented by our staff and also comments made from the applicant, I will open the floor for public comment. All that we ask is that you take the podium, state your name, and we'll be happy to hear what you have to say, either in support of or in opposition to the request. Okay, seeing no one come forward, the public hearing is closed. And now I'll go back to my earlier statement. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the zoning change as presented.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
and a second to approve the change as presented. Any further discussion?
I got just one comment on it, that Elizabeth just reminded us of, and get that out, that as you look through your packet, I hope that Ms. Perry has a lot of success there. I really do. And will want to continue to be there, and I hope it'll be so much that you'll have to bring in someone else. But should that not happen, or should she decide years from now that she wants to sell this property, then it will still be zone medical arts, and any type of doctor's office can go in there. So I mean, I think that's one thing that we really need to think about. And in listening or sitting through the planning board, it was brought up, but it was not really addressed that well about having a right in, right out method of ingress and egress. And she's saying she's only going to have one person there at the time, probably not even going to have a secretary. That I understand, but again, I think we need to look out for the future. We did it with Walgreens, we did it with, Elizabeth mentioned duck through, the entrance going back to whatever that big development that hadn't happened yet. But anyhow, I would like to make that part of the use on this particular property, is that a right in, right out, because that's a busy intersection. We all go through it quite often, and it's getting busier every day. I'm glad you want to bring your business here, tickled to death, but I think we ought to add that in, and as far as I know, any other thing that someone has mentioned to me, I've tried to cover as far as what you're going to do with your shrub or in your fence. But I would like to add that if we could do so.
Elizabeth, would you give us some guidance?
On a general use rezoning application, you can't add conditions. It's different from a conditional use rezoning. So you're considering just the request for rezoning. However, Ms. Perry will have to come to the planning office and get a commercial zoning permit when she's ready to open her business. And at that time, staff can review the traffic patterns in and out and request that she put some sort of sign on her property that says right turn only for people that are exiting. That might be something that we can do to handle that concern. But it wouldn't be appropriate, it's really not allowable to put it as a condition on this particular request.
Okay. We do that in the future then?
If she had come, yes, we would do it in the future for the zoning permit.
Okay. All
That's right.
Good deal. Thank you. I'll save that then, Mayor. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good point. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, no? The motion carries. We will change the zoning and wish you the very best in your new venture. I'm happy that you invested in our community. All right. Next item on the agenda will be our committee reports for this evening. We'll hear from three of our standing committees, beginning with Public Works, and that's chaired by Councilman Stallings. Please, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. We only have one item on our agenda tonight, and it is recommended that council adopt amendment to Town Code of Ordinances under section 94.042B6 and B8, which is yard waste, as was presented at our committee meeting, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to amend the Town Code of Ordinances to deal with yard waste as presented at our previous committee meeting. Anybody have any comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. We will so amend.
That's all we have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll hear from Finance, and that's chaired by Councilman Dixon, please.
We have two things on the agenda tonight. The first is the approval of the grant agreement with the State Preservation Office for the virtual filming of the virtual walking tour of East Gale Street as presented in committee, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to approve the grant agreement as just described. Any further questions, comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Thank you.
The second thing we have on tonight is that it's recommended that the council approve the amendment to professional services, the professional services agreement with Wooten Company for the NC Housing Finance Agency 2014 Housing Rehabilitation Grant as presented, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to amend the professional services agreement to accommodate the Housing Finance Agency grant. Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. All right, thank you, sir. And finally, from our committees tonight, we'll hear from our administrative committee chaired by Councilman Biggs, please.
Thank you, Mayor. We have two items on the agenda tonight, and the first one is that it is recommended that the council approve the nuisance demolition agreement for 104 Valentine Avenue as presented, and as you all will remember, that was the unfortunate site of a recent house fire that someone unfortunately lost their life, and they would like for us to demolish the building. So I will put that in the form of a motion.
Okay, motion and a second. Further comments or questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Thank you very much.
And on that same note, I'll go ahead and put this in the form of a motion that it's recommended that council adopt the ordinance ordering the demolition of the structure at 104 Valentine Avenue.
Okay, motion and a second to order the demolition. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Okay, thank you all very much. Moving now to new business. Anne Marie, if you would walk us through the items you have listed there.
Okay, Mayor, I'm going to ask Elizabeth to review the bids and the process that we went through to hire or recommend that you all authorize a contract for the demolition work.
Thank you again. This is again regarding the house at 104 Valentine Avenue. We submitted or compiled a bid packet with information on the needed procedure for demolition and disposal of the debris for the house at 104 Valentine, and had a bid opening date of November 7th. And we were able to get 3 bids. They are included in your packet for your review from 3 different local companies. We sent it out to several and got 3 back. You can see that the low bidder was C&M Land Development, and their bid was for $6,125. Now, we should clarify that the town excluded tipping fees from these bids, so we will cover that side of it. So this is just for the contract to demolish and haul away the debris and clear the site, clean it up. 2 more bids. The high bid ranging was up to $44,449, and I'm trying to get an answer. Been calling them to see what they might have included that perhaps they shouldn't have, or why it was so much different, because you can see that the other bid was much closer at $9,400. So that was our process. We're prepared, after you choose which contractor you'd like to award, we're prepared to talk with them tomorrow, and we've been in touch with the low bidder, and understand that they should be able to get to work later this week if we're able to proceed after tonight. So if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any other questions?
That was when I would have had, when can you get started? Help these
Yeah.
people out.
Pretty quick, isn't it? Okay, Chair will entertain a motion to award the bid to the low bidder for the demolition at 104 Valentine Avenue.
Second.
Motion and a second to do so. Further questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, no? All right, thank you very much. Change order, please.
Mayor, we do not have the change order yet from Barnhill. We've been in touch with Derek Smith, who's the engineer with the Wooten Company helping us, and he expects the change order to come hopefully in time for your November 27th meeting to take action. They overnighted the contracts to us today, so we should get them tomorrow to sign for the original contract. And the plan is for Barnhill to start working on the original scope of work starting the week of the 27th, the week after Thanksgiving.
Great.
So we'll still have time for you to review and approve the change order to add the additional street work.
Okay.
So what we have for you tonight, we don't have item B, but we do have item C, and that is the amendment to the engineering services agreement for the Wooten Company. You know, we hired them to do the assessment and then to help actually write and draft the bid specifications. And then we'll also need to hire them to monitor and inspect the construction work. So their agreement needs to be amended to include those additional services. And the agreement in your packet shows $10,000 for contract administration, and then up to $20,000 for the resident inspection person, and then another $2,500 for geotechnical services that will be needed to evaluate and certify that the pavement is put down at the depth and the quantities that are required.
Can that be made with, subject to the change order being executed?
Well, this
Or does,
is for the original scope of work, so.
okay,
Yeah.
but I thought I understood it included the added on supervision for the
I'm sorry, I wasn't,
stuff that we don't have the change order for yet.
no, sir, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear. I believe that this covers the original scope of work.
Okay,
There'll likely be a modification of their services once we know what the change order
so
is.
there'll be another one of these when we,
Yes.
okay, I thought maybe they were tied together now.
So
All right.
Henry, if I may, tell me again, what was the $10,000 charge for?
The contract administration, that was for doing the bidding, for reviewing the bids, certifying the bids, and then
That's already passed.
yes.
Yes,
And
that's
then
why I understood that.
contract administration, they'll have to review and certify the payment requests, you know, make sure that the quantities that were submitted for payment match the pricing for the bid. So there's a lot of administrative work for them to manage the contract on our behalf.
Okay, Chair would entertain a motion to amend the engineering services agreement.
I move.
Motion and a second to do so. Any further questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. All right, thank you very much. D.
Mayor, it's hard to believe that it is almost the end of the calendar year of 2017, and one of the action items that you handle at the end of the year is the certification of the 2017 Fire Department roster. This roster has to be certified by you as to who all the active and retired members are, and then it is sent to the state, is it sent to?
State Fire Marshal's
The State Fire Marshal's Office. And this is a very important document because it involves pensions and years of service. The chief has prepared it for you, and he's available to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, we'll get a motion up, and then if anybody has any questions of the chief, we can ask it during the discussion. So the chair would entertain a motion to certify the roster.
Second.
Motion and a second to do so. Any further questions or comments?
I got one quick question. Why is Jennifer Baldwin on there?
Jennifer's name is listed on the roster.
Because she serves as the treasurer
Okay.
for the relief funds and the pension fund monies. So we have to certify her as a member of that board, which you'll hear in just a second. There's a local relief fund board. a
But
local
she
relief
is
fund-
no longer employed. Is she still going to be the treasurer?
But she was for 2017.
So
That
this is
roster is
for
in
17.
arrears.
Okay, good deal. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay.
And just for the record, her last day is this Friday. so
Right.
she's-
Well, yeah.
Okay. Did we get the motion? We did, didn't we? Okay, any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Thank you very much, thank you, chief. And item E, please. ma'am.
Chief, the next item is the reappointment of the Fireman Relief Fund Board of Directors. Can you remind Chief who the members
Sure.
are?
Gary Swanner, Alan Swanner, Don Fairclough, the fire chief, and the finance officer for the town. Those members are the ones that do the local relief fund. What that is a percentage of every fire insurance policy that's sold goes to the state. They then award that money to the local jurisdictions for any firefighter that's been hurt, educational opportunities for firefighters and their children, and for supplemental relief fund monies, pension fund monies.
All right, very nice. Chair would entertain a motion to reappoint the board of directors as presented.
I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second to do that. Further questions or comments? All in
That,
favor? Oh, excuse me.
yeah, one quick. So was that for last year that you're asking? Or for the new board?
That is for the board going forward.
Okay.
And that's why it's the finance officer, not Jennifer Baldwin, and
Okay.
for the fire chief, not for me. It
Okay.
is the position rather than the person. That's why it was specifically Alan Swanner, Gary Swanner, Don Fairclough, the fire chief, and the finance officer, whoever that may be.
TBD.
Yes, sir. That'll be for the 2017-18 year.
All right. Making sure. Thank you.
Okay. All right, good question. Any further questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, no? All right, thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
At this time, the final item in our new business for tonight is the awarding of a service weapon to our soon-to-be departing police chief. This will be the last time we're together to do this prior to his departure, and it's become a custom here in Edenton that when a police chief retires or moves on, that as part of our appreciation and recognition of service rendered during the course of his tenure with us, that we award the departing chief his firearm, his weapon. Chief, I don't pretend to want to take it from you tonight, but we will certainly recognize you. If you would join me up front. This is quite a year for us here in Edenton at our department head level. We're losing two of our finest, both first responders who've served this community well, as I just mentioned, in the time that Fortenberry has worked hard as a police officer for the community, and at the same time, he is taking the time to further his education. He's earned a doctorate degree, and he's going to use that to further his employment going forward. And to that endeavor, we wish you all the best. Know you'll be successful. Happy to learn too that he and his wife are going to remain in Edenton during his venture forward. So we're happy about that as well. So Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
All the best.
All right, thank you so much.
We enjoyed having you with us.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anything you'd like to say? The floor is yours.
Well, I just want to say, it's hard to believe that 9 years has gone by as fast as it has. It's been here 9 years. And I'm retiring from law enforcement because my old chief of police, Joe Brown, told me years ago, when you get 30 years in, you need to step down and let somebody else do it. It's the nature of the beast of law enforcement, chasing bad guys, and the stress involved with it. 30 years is long enough, so I got my 30 years of credit. And I want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you, Anne Marie, for hiring me in the first place. I've thanked her so many times. It's been one of the best things for me and my family to move to Edenton and to come here and serve Edenton. And like I say, I need to keep this for a little while longer because I'm not done yet. But it's going to be going to a very distinct place in my household. It'll stay with my family and be passed down for years. So thank you for that, and I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity to serve Edenton.
You're very welcome. Chief Forline.
I don't know that I can,
There's no weapon for you to surrender.
a helmet.
Give him a hose.
Yeah, there we go. But as I mentioned in introducing Chief Fortenberry, Greg Forline is also going to be leaving our service very soon. And I would like, on behalf of this town council, our administration, and all the citizens of Edenton, to thank you for a job well done. You brought a lot of professionalism to the department. You helped the citizens in a lot of different ways with insurance benefits and the like. So thank you again. We're happy to say too that Chief Forline is going to remain in Edenton. So we'll have the pleasure of seeing you out and about around our community. And we wish you all the best, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you. I can't speak as eloquently as the police chief, but it's truly been an honor and a pleasure to serve Edenton and to be here. So thank you, each of you, for your support during my time. Thank you, Anne Marie. Thanks. That's all I can say.
And no, Chief, we're not going to give you the old fire truck that you were stealing.
Very good. Thank you both. All right, council members, items considered timely and important by you. Anybody have anything you want to share with your colleagues tonight?
I guess I'll ask all the time, have we any more updates on the hotel by chance, or town hall, or any of that stuff?
On the hotel, I'm not sure. I think I did report at the last meeting about the meeting we had with Saga, and that they have hired the international company that evaluates feasibility of hotels. And that report, I had told you last month, would be finished in January, but I did hear recently that it probably will be finished maybe before Thanksgiving. So that's positive. With Town Hall, we're marketing the space upstairs. Hood is continuing with negotiations to try and unwind the state grants and obligations, and probably will want him to come and give you a briefing in a closed session sometime soon.
And one other thing, the salary survey, how are we coming on that? I know we talked about that at the league meeting.
We have received 2 proposals, and Tammy was reaching out to a couple of the references for each of the vendors. She identified communities similar in size to us, and I think she was trying to fine-tune what the schedule was going to be, but our hope is to present you the proposals at your next committee meeting. So,
Love to have that before we start budget, which unfortunately is right around the corner.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything you want to bring forward?
You might, Anne Marie, you may want to mention the sign going up at the hotel as it relates to the day of.
yes, I will. Thank you. When we met with the developer for the hotel about a month ago, I guess, Elizabeth and Jennifer asked the developers to install a sign on the building or in the window that would let people know that the project is still under, effort is still being made to turn the building into a hotel. Particularly wanted to have it up before the Christmas tour when we have so many visitors going to the events at the old courthouse, and to let people know that an investment has been made and that hopefully there'll be future investment. And the Saga team gave Jennifer free reign on the sign. They're going to pay for it, and so she's working on the design and the wording, and she reported this morning at DDE that a sign would be up by the Christmas tour. And they also are working on the repairs that Elizabeth had identified that needed to be made. And we've asked that those repairs be completed by the middle of December also.
I get a lot of people still asking about, there's a major interest, and God knows it would be nice if it was downtown.
It really would. Anything else? All right, very good. Turn the floor over now to those of you here tonight who may have things you want to share with the town council. So I'll open the floor for public comment. And again, we simply ask that you come to the podium and let us hear what your concerns are or questions you may have. So the floor is open for that purpose.
Hi, my name is Joe Liotta, and I just have a couple of quick questions, and the second one is really silly, but I'm going to ask it anyway. The first question, and I apologize, I missed your last meeting, so I probably missed this, but has there been a date set for the public hearing for the brew pub yet?
Yes, sir. It's the 27th of November at 6 p.m., and it'll be at the high school auditorium.
And isn't that your normal second council meeting date?
Yes, it is. We're going to have a special meeting. We are allowed under our practice of conducting meetings to add agenda items to a work session in the form of a special meeting agenda item. So that's when that will take place.
Okay, thank you. And second question is really silly. As I was running over here, I noticed a couple of street lights out on my street. Who do I contact to get those changed?
Should be
You can
here.
contact me. Glenn is out on sick
Okay.
leave, but
That's right.
I didn't mean to do it here. I just
that's okay. No,
running.
we're happy. We need all the help we can get. So after the meeting, if you can stay, we'll
Sure.
make a note of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And since I still have a couple of minutes, just a quick statement. I'd like to personally extend my thanks to the first responders here. They deserve all of our admiration for what they do. There's nobody more special than people like them and the people who work with them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for sharing that thought that we all agree with. Anyone else like to say or present or question the council this evening? Okay, seeing no one else, we will close the public hearing, and the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor, aye? All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you all for coming out tonight. We appreciate your participation.